All right, everybody, we got a really exciting episode today. We have gathered 5 podcasters together that all do Subaru content, and we're going to have them battle to the death in a gauntlet.
Wait.
Yeah, we're super excited. We have Ben back from the DirtSubies Podcast. Been with us before. We have Matt Gold from Drop a Gear. As you guys know, he's been on recently.
I don't know what that was.
We got Raph from Subie You, who really well known in the Subaru community, and me and Dave. So we are ready to get into it.
Thank you.
We have been setting this up for like a couple weeks now, and I've been kind of stewing over a couple different ideas. We were throwing some stuff back and forth. And, the first thing I wanted to dive into is just kind of how have you guys been? How have your podcast been doing since you guys were on? And, have you guys been to any new Subaru events or anything recently?
Who's going to start?
You.
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, Raph, you spoke first. You can go first.
Okay.
Seniority rules.
Yeah, so the podcast is pretty much the same. I mean, it's, I changed the format about a year and a half ago where I was doing an episode every week, and then I started doing an episode every other week with a guest. And then the opposite, Mondays, I do the Subie Scoop, which is kind of like just catching people up, mainly with my life and then other things that may be going on. And then also I went to Overland Expo West and then Overland Expo P&W this year. So that was pretty cool. So that was kind of new for me.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, got a new job. So that's nice too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, finally. Thank you.
Yeah, and you're doing all the UGC content, so it seems like you've been super busy.
Yeah, and then I do a video for Subaru Gear every week also.
Yeah, that's super cool that you got that because, it seems like if I had that job, I would be my house would be filled in Subaru stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first started it, I was just like grabbing images off the website and throwing them up in a reel. And then starting in March, because of my pursuits with UGC, I was like, I want to be on camera more and I want to have like products in hand to show people. And so like the most recent one I did was a Subie Girl t-shirt with my daughter. So that was fun.
I will tell you, I saw one of your reels about the Subaru playing cards.
Yeah.
And I immediately went to the website and I looked everywhere and I could not find them. And I was like, man, they look so cool. You were at like the Overland Expo or something and you showed them.
Yeah, Ben was in my video.
You were there?
Yeah. You go back and look at it. Yeah, Ben was there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw those cards. That it was like right when you had posted it. I don't know if maybe they were new or what, but I was like looking for them and I was like, they got to be here somewhere.
Yeah, so if you go to search and you just type in cards, it comes up. So if you go into the search bar, type in cards, it'll bring up, it just says playing cards. And then they have wilderness playing cards also at Subaru Gear.
There they are. Yeah, the Constellation ones, I think, is the ones that I saw.
Yeah, there you go.
So awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it was fun doing that. I was like, I want to do one of the videos while I'm here because I thought like having those playing cards would be like the perfect scenario to do it there at camp. And I just grabbed some people. I was like, hey, y'all want to be in my next Subaru Gear video? And they're like, what are we doing? I'm like, just go with it. All right, I'll explain it as we go along. And so I liked how it turned out. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I loved it. I think that, the content you've been putting out recently has been awesome. The Overland Expo stuff is like so well videoed and cut, and I just love it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I've done 2 full-length, like long-form YouTube videos. One where we went to Edge of the World in Arizona, and then the next one was like at a Camp Subaru or Subaru Base Camp, where I was talking and interviewing people. So I can send those links later on. I'm working on the 3rd video from West, which is like stuff from the booth itself. And then I haven't done anything with P&W yet because I had never done long form YouTube videos before. So all of the pulling in the separate clips, throwing up images, text, overlays of video clips and everything, it just turned out to be a lot more work than I thought. And so it's kind of like been intimidating and I've been kind of procrastinating with it, but I'll get them done. And I mean, I like the way they turn out. It's like once I get into it and I actually start doing it, then it's like gets fun. But it's like I have to get myself to just sit down and work through it and get it done. So
Yeah.
hopefully
See,
soon.
Yeah.
See, I have the problem of like we've been putting together this snowdrift video for a while, and it's like super long form, lots of cutting and editing and stuff. And it's like I love doing that stuff, but like I don't have the time to just sit down and like rip through 8 hours of editing. So like a lot of times I'm the most motivated when I'm at work, when I'm supposed to be doing other things. And it's like it's so tough because like I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I could be editing like right now. I could be ripping through, it's like, but dude, it's a lot. And like, not just that, but you think about it, like we could sit here for an hour and record no problem. But like when you cut an hour long video, it's like every 10 seconds you're cutting to a new thing. And it's like you do that for a full hour. It's so much work. And like it's rewarding at the end, but like it just takes forever. Like it's
Well, you're not wrong, right? I just got done editing the first episode of season 3 for my podcast, and it's an hour and 35 minutes worth of raw video. I barely cut anything out because of how my formatting is set up. But yeah, I think I spent 6 hours so far on it.
yeah.
Yeah, when I did the first 2 videos from Overland Expo West, I also did them in CapCut on my phone.
You are crazy.
I mean, I would do it on the computer. Actually, I'm going to have to do the next ones on the computer because with all of the content that I created from there, and then also all the UGC stuff I'm doing, plus Subaru gear, my phone is filling up. Like it doesn't bother me to do it on the phone because I've gotten so good at doing the editing and throwing stuff in there, and I can do it kind of quickly once I get into a good flow. But I've never used any other editing software. And so that's the only thing I know how to use. But yeah, I'm going to have to get a new phone at some point too, because I've got a 256 and I think I'm going to get a 512.
Nice.
So I spent the first 3 years doing everything on my phone. And I recently started doing more stuff on the computer because I was like, okay, I can do it longer, whatever. But I actually just spent today, I put in a new SD card to start putting all my raw stuff onto an SD card on the phone so that I can then use the apps on the phone to edit with, because I was using Power Director on my phone. So yeah, I know what it's like doing it on a phone, but man, oh man, is a computer just so much better over time.
I'll get there.
I mean, I found that like I did a lot of editing in Premiere Pro, and like you can do some incredible things. Like some of the stuff that I did was like, I'm following tutorials and figuring it out, and like it's really an incredible thing, but the learning curve is like insane. Whereas like we're recording in Riverside, I gotta say, God bless these people. They have made it so simple. Like the editing on here, like our guy AJ, he's able to go in and like add pictures, add video, add intros. It's all super user friendly. You just drag and drop everything and cut it. And it's like it honestly, like it saves me so much time. Like it's one of the best things ever.
All right. So who's next?
Well, Matt, I would say, why don't you give people an update on where you're at with the Vivio and how things are going?
Oh boy. So the last time that I was on here, we talked about, I think we kind of talked about both of the Vivio projects. I know we talked a lot about the one that I'm bringing over from Poland to race in 2027 in the ARA series. The black one that I had sent you pictures of as well, that one we took up to New York. It's actually, I work closely with American Veteran Racing Organization, and basically, we're going to work with some stuff up there. They're going to help me with some things. It's up there at their shop right now, getting some basic things done to it. Not 100% sure how much we're going to do with that car over the next couple of months, because my focus is that car from Poland. Which right now we're kind of in a lull. I have military obligations and stuff like that are going to take precedence, and it's going to kind of really detract from a lot of the stuff that I want to do. But, thankfully I've got the team here back home that's going to, take care of a lot of the things for me, as things progress. But, progression wise, we're kind of still there, right? There's a campaign for people, if they want to support the project and things like that, they can kick into supporting that through the websites. But for the most part, I'm in the phase of just basically putting all of my efforts and everything that I have towards the logistics and the finances of getting this thing imported. So importing a car is kind of expensive, but thankfully it's almost 30 years old for the car. So it technically is cheaper on the import cost. So there's a pro and con to it all.
I hear that. Well, we look forward to seeing how that project keeps going and following along with it. Obviously, Dave and I have been super deep in the ARA recently, and we've been going to all the events. And, I think the next thing we're going to be at is probably Snowdrift again in January, or February.
Okay.
So
I'm hoping I can make it to that.
Yeah. I
We'd
mean,
love to have you out, dude.
it's one of those things that I love it, but man, I don't want to go. It's so cold.
Well, so okay, right. Last year Snowdrift was a disaster for me in some way, right? Off camera for some of the people that might have not seen it on the Instagram, right? I towed the black Vivio to Snowdrift. Ironically, we set up right behind you guys on day 2.
Yeah.
And that was just hilarious. But
yeah,
on the way up there, the Suburban's front wheel bearing decided that it was no longer wanting to function. So it just left the chat and caught on fire while we were driving. So it was eventful getting there. And I don't know if I want to drive up there again.
Yeah, I mean, I took the Subaru, and thank God I had my snow wheels on, and I was just ripping up there. But I thought some days it was so cold, I was like, I shouldn't have brought this thing. I was like, this is gonna be a problem. It's just
how many hours was it for you guys again, Patrick?
14, 12.
14? Okay.
I was gonna say it was about 16 for me if you don't count the delay from the wheel bearing issue.
Yeah, I mean,
ours was pretty much about almost a solid 24. Almost, it was like 22.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of a dip. I mean, I drove from Wichita Falls, Texas, back to Pennsylvania, and I did that in 27 hours. So
my longest stretch is from Colorado all the way to New Brunswick, Canada, and that's 36 hours.
I'd have just flown.
The thing that I love is that we did a podcast, it must have been 2 weeks before we were leaving, and it was with this guy, Matt George, that we met, who he just did this Baja build. I reached out to him online. I got him on the podcast, and he was like, hey, I just left Michigan and moved to Colorado. And I was like, hey, do you want to get back in the car with Dave and come back to Michigan and go to Snowdrift? And he was like, yeah, I do actually.
All right.
So we just met him totally at random
the whole way.
It was funny because he moved to Colorado. He had to go back to Michigan for a wedding. He had just gotten back to Colorado. Then he gets in the car with Dave, drives 24 hours back to Michigan. And then we're there for probably 5-6 days. And then he gets back in the car and goes 24 hours back to Colorado. It's just crazy.
Wow.
But so moving on, Ben, we have not seen you in a minute.
I know.
How is everything? How is the podcast? What's new?
Dude, I've been slacking on the podcast. No, I've been so slammed with work. We're super busy at work. And I've got an episode that's ready to come out. I just need to upload it and get it going. But I did get to hang out with Raph over here at Overland Expo P&W. That was a ton of fun. Also got to meet our buddy Sam. I can never remember I always get it wrong. His Instagram handle.
Fozzie.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Him and then my other buddy, they've got a real similar handle, and I always get them mixed up. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. And I just drove out to Hillsboro, Oregon. So I love working on my own cars, causing all kinds of problems under the hood. But on my wife's car, I make sure the professionals can handle that, because it just needs to be good. She doesn't know what to listen for if I mess something up, I'm okay with destroying my own cars, but not hers. I need her to be safe. So we had to swap out the viscous, the center diff, had to do the dreaded blend door actuator on the 2011 Outbacks. I don't know if you guys have ever messed with those, but Dash has to come out, dude. And it gets hotter than crap out here, so she's got to have AC. So that was a little mission. The homies, shout out to Accolade Auto in Hillsboro, Oregon. That's like 4 hours for me, but it's worth the drive. Those guys are the real ones, man. But yeah, that's kind of it. I'm still wrenching on the Subarus, wrenching on the Jeeps when I got time, causing all sorts of problems. But that's what I've been up to, man.
You know what's funny, Ben, is you're talking about your wife. My wife did not know me before when I was like deep into cars and stuff, and she met me at a time when I was like focusing on work and I like had a daily and I wasn't really like wrenching on anything. She met me post wrenching. So now, right, like I have this shop and like we're always working on the lifts and doing all this stuff. And so like my lawnmower engine went, and she was like, I ordered an engine online, and she was like, "You're just gonna like put that in?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a lawnmower, like whatever." And like I remember it took like a day or two because I had to order parts and stuff, and she was like, "It's okay, like you can have someone else do it, like we can just send it to the lawnmower guy." And I was like, "Yo, I got this,"
Lawnmower guy's gonna have to order parts too.
If it was a week, that's one thing. A week, 2 weeks later, she has a right to complain. But no, like a day or two is different. Like you're right, parts, whatever that happens in a regular shop.
Well, dude, I didn't realize that lawnmower engines are $2,500. So if I would have taken it somewhere, that guy would have charged me $3,500, and then he would have been like, labor's $1,000, and then like my life would have been over. It's like, and the problem is, I just bought this mower. It's a Skag like commercial mower. I got it a year ago for like $3,500, and so like I talked her into this sweet marketplace deal, which turned out to not be so sweet. And so that's where it all fell apart, So now, right, like my 19 WRX needs a turbo. So I have a turbo, and I'm like, "Hey, when should I stay after work and do it?" And she's like, "Are you sure you want to do it? You could have one of the guys at work just do it, and it'll be right." I was like, "Whoa!" I was like,
"Wow,
it'll be right."
I was like, "You don't understand. I used to do this like a lot. Like I'm just." So now we're in this like thing. Guy. then I bought these Saabs that needed a bunch of work. That was a whole nightmare. So now she doesn't trust me at all because I bought 2 Saabs, and that's like all.
What kind of Saabs?
I got 2 Saab 9.3s turbos. They're
nice.
They're 2008. It's actually a Chevy Malibu drivetrain from when GM bought Saab for like a minute. But fun fact, I didn't know this about Saab. If you get a 2008 9.3 on the back, if it says 2.0 turbo, if it has a big T, it means that you have a Mitsubishi turbo, which is the big turbo. So you make lots of boost. If you have a little T, it means that you have like I think it's a Blausch turbo or something, like a little tiny, like it makes less boost. So I actually had some kid come up to me on the street, and he was like, "Yo, big turbo, big T." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, he brought over his Saab, and he was like, "My little T." He goes, "I don't make anything." I was like, "Okay."
Never heard of that. That's cool.
Yeah, it totally blew my mind because I have 2 of them with big T's, and I was like, I'm big T all over the place. I got 2.
Oh yeah,
It was funny because we talked about that a little bit the other day, and I remember looking it up, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." Because there's a bunch of different cars out there that have done interesting little things like that. But I never knew about the whole Chevy thing. I thought that was just weird.
Yeah, well, it's like the first Saab was like Subaru, and then like they sold, and like I guess GM picked them up, and GM was like, "What are we gonna do with this brand?" And then they were like, "Make it a Malibu. Like, put a turbo on it."
You have to change your name to have a big T on the end now.
Big T. Oh,
big T.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
P-A-T, big T.
But it was funny, Pat, you were talking about. Yeah, big T.
There we go.
But he was talking about
big T, little P.
Nah, you don't want to have a little P. You don't want to admit that. Come on now. But it was funny, you were talking about working on vehicles and stuff, right? My wife has a 1968 Dodge D200 pickup, And we were working on it the one day, and she was like, oh, it needs a couple things. And I was like, yeah, we'll put some brakes on it. I said, they feel a little spongy, whatever. I was like, I'm going to take it to work tomorrow. And I got like halfway to work, and the retaining pins just like sheared off and the brakes exploded in the back.
Oh no.
And she's like, you're never driving my truck again. And I'm like, then I won't tell you that they caught on fire.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's just, she's done that to me a couple times, even though she's like, she knows, like at one point, like, you know, when we first got together, like I started a actual like repair shop, like after like we got together. And so like, she knows that I know how to fix the stuff, but it was just like, every time I drive her truck, it's like, damn it.
Yeah. I'm definitely not driving behind you, Matt.
Oh, come on now. Listen, it's not that bad. You want to be behind me, because then if it breaks,
I don't want to be in front of him.
Yeah, you don't want to be in front of me, because then I can't stop. See?
Yeah.
Good point.
But yeah, that was fun.
Well, cool. It sounds like everybody's doing well. I wanted to get into some topics here, some stuff that we can kind of talk about. Now, we had talked. I had mentioned to everybody to kind of bring like their perfect build of a car that they would like. If you didn't, you can just off the rip go for it. But yeah, I'd like to kind of start maybe with Raph here. And I would say, well,
come on, you've talked to enough people.
We gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, I would say like if you have a favorite car chassis, like you know, any kind of body style you like, anything like that. Favorite engine, favorite trans. Are you a front wheel, rear wheel? We should all be all wheel guys. You know, do you like sedans? Do you like hatchbacks? Do you like wagons? Do you like coupes?
Gotcha. I get you. I follow you.
Yeah. So what would be your ideal vehicle?
I think probably just sticking with mine, but doing some stuff that I'd like to do to it. Because first of all, I've had sedans. I don't like sedans unless it's like a second car. So this is my second hatchback, and I don't think I could ever not have a hatchback. Because one, I like the way that they look. And second of all, you've just got so much more space back there. And so like, I think for mine, because like I like my stance, but it would also be nice to have a little bit of a lift on it, at least like an inch to an inch and a half, just to give it a little bit more stance look.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to do an engine and transmission swap, like maybe with like whatever the newest WRX I think can apparently go into my Crosstrek. Like ideally, if money was no object and I could just get it done, that would be fun to make my Crosstrek faster and just more fun to drive.
Cool.
Give it a little bit of a sleeper look, you know. It's just you got this Subaru Crosstrek over here that's doing pretty good. So that would be fun. Also, as far as like rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, all wheel drive, I've driven both, and my car is the first all wheel drive car I've ever had. So I love it. I love like feeling it off road, and I love feeling the, you know, symmetrical all wheel drive working whenever you're on like loose dirt and, you know, or in mud and are like just trying to go through some terrain. And then I like the safety of having all wheel drive here in Houston with all the rain that we get. But as far as like one of the cars that I've really, really liked, and I don't really know like what year they were, I guess like maybe early 2000s, but because this is kind of where I first started noticing a Subaru was the older like WRX and STI hatches. Like I've always loved those. The only thing I didn't like about them was the taillights. The taillights always looked funky to me. Like I'm like, they don't look like they fit with the car.
They look like Honda Odysseys from the back.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But yeah, I like those. Like it would be nice to have a hatch at some point like that.
Yeah. I think that Subaru does wagons so well, and I just don't know why they won't give them to us. It's like, you know, I love that body style. The hatchbacks look great. I mean, they do hatches great. I think that like anything with like that extended back, they do such a good job. And I just don't know why they just are like, no, you can't.
I know why. We don't buy them. I hate to say it, we don't buy them. I mean, look
Try
at
me.
every other company who's ever really made wagons, if you will, for example, just, from a hatchback standpoint. Volvo, they have a few kind of still here and there. Who's the other one? Obviously Audi has done them, BMW, Mercedes, they all still make them. They call them Estates. They're over in Europe. They love Estates. We don't really get it here. We want a big Escalade. And it also doesn't hurt that we've talked about this on previous podcasts before about the CAFE standards, to where unless you're going to build a car that can do 40 miles, 50 miles to the gallon, it might as well be the size of an Escalade. I mean, look at the current generation Outback. That thing is huge, like absolutely huge.
Well, even the Foresters are huge.
Sure. They've gotten massive. Even my mom, humbly, shout out to my mom. Hi, Mom. She loves her Outback. Absolutely loves it. She loved her former Outback, which was one of the 2004 generations, so a lot smaller. Now she's got a 2017. She still loves it. Before we got that 2017 for her to replace her 2004, she made a very adamant point. She was like, I want another Subaru. I absolutely want another Outback. And the third requirement, I do not want one of those new Outback SUVs. That was my mom's words exactly. She's like, I don't want one of these newer Outbacks. They are too big for me. I still they live in Baltimore, her and my sister, and they still have to parallel park that thing from time to time or get into small parking spots. My mom's like, I don't need something that's the size of an SUV. And her Outback formerly is perfect size for her. And she loves it, of course, to death. For that reason, it's able to get everything. And she's an artist. So she's got like painting things, canvases, you name it. She always says, she's like, there's never anything, Dave, I can't fit in the back of my Outback. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
would totally be down with the size of these vehicles. If we went back to rear-facing seats in the back, I would be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I love about my Crosstrek is I love that it's small because so every quarter the company I work for now is called Perry Homes. It's a local builder here in Houston, but they moved into a building like a couple of years ago or something, and I was driving through the parking garage and it is so tight in there, and I was just thinking like what it would be like with some dude that's got some giant pickup truck trying to navigate this parking garage. There's just no way, because my Crosstrek is, the smallest one. And I wasn't concerned or anything, but I'm like, man, some of these corners are tight. I just couldn't imagine somebody in here with a big truck or a really long car. Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about my Crosstrek is it's very small. It's easy to maneuver. Parallel parking is awesome because I can see a spot and I'm like, yeah, I can fit in there, but I don't think a whole lot else.
I feel like the ceilings get smaller in the parking garages too. I feel like, I got the cargo carrier on top. I'm looking up like, maybe it's just
my Suburban fits through parking structures with a roof basket on the top. So I think anything else is good in the Subaru community there.
Yeah.
But it's funny, Raph, you're talking about like navigating those. I drive a K car, so it's the size of like a gumball machine. So like I go whipping around and I'm afraid I'm actually going to get run over by somebody in a big truck
because they don't see you,
because they can't even see me. Like I make a smart car look big.
What was that?
Like I actually make smart cars look small. So,
yeah. Well, Matt, what is your perfect car build?
I had to give this a lot of thought because I have so many cars in my head that I could build. Dream car years ago has always been like, as a little kid, it was like an early Viper, right? First gen Viper, the RT10. I got to drive one not that long ago. Super fun. The car definitely is exactly like the rumors say. They try to kill you while you're driving in a straight line. But honestly, the biggest car that I always wanted to build was either, and it's two very distinct, but ironically very close in shape and design, either a 964 Porsche or a 993. They look very similar. The difference is the amount of angle on the headlights, and some other little minor things. But I've always wanted the 993 because that is it's the early 90s to the end of the 90s Porsches. It was one of the last I think it's actually the last air-cooled Porsche. So I've always loved that body style, the way that the lines looked. And then obviously, you throw a set of RSR big fenders on it, put some nice wider tires on it, and just step that motor out, right? I'd probably, try and make a deal with Bisimoto and have him, completely redo the engine, similar to the one that he built many years ago. That's probably my ultimate dream car. But other than that, it's just, the suspension to handle it, not really going too wild and crazy. I would probably just turn it into a semi track day car. And there's that. But right now, my current trend is actually more into the JDM side of things with everything that I grew up in. I grew up with Hondas, the Toyotas and the early RX-7s and stuff like that. So anything I guess you could call it the Fast and Furious era of cars.
Yep.
And one of the cars that I've always wanted to build, and they're a nightmare, would be either a second gen Turbo 2 RX-7 or even the third gen. There's just something about the way a rotary sounds. But I fell in love with the second gen and the third gens thanks to Initial D. And stuff like that, get my anime nerd on. But the sheer amount of power that you can make in a rotary motor, even though they're not known for torque, but just what you can do with them, building it for maybe a combination of drift rather than circuit racing or anything like that. So,
well, I will tell you, I've always wanted a Red Suns FC RX-7. So
I've always loved the RX-7s. Those things are just ever since I first saw one, I've never driven one. Well, I drove an RX-8, but I've never driven an RX-7. I've always wanted to. Those things are just, I've always liked them. They look so cool.
I saw an FD one at a shop near me, and he was there for a while. And I was like, what's going on with that car on the lot? And he's like, it's a customer's. We're building it out. He's like, don't worry, we've gotten 100 calls already. I was like, oh, okay. Just got to ask.
There's a guy with an FD local to me, and man, this thing, it looks completely stock on the outside. He lowered it a little bit, put on some nice period specific wheels, but oh my God, this thing screams. And yeah, you hear that engine rip up, hear the blow off from the turbo, and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm done.
I like things that are unique too. I like when cars have like a hood scoop that is off center or something like that,
I love that about my Vivio.
The hood bulge on the Mitsubishi Eclipse.
I was thinking that too. Yep, the talons and stuff.
The ZC Hondas did that too.
Yeah. Well, I love that answer. So, Ben, what'd you come up with?
Dude, this is such a hard question because it's do I pick something for off road or do I pick something for daily driving and street ability? Matt, what you said about the first gen Viper, I literally have an investment account that is titled Viper Fund.
Yes.
It doesn't. It only has about a tenth of the money that I would need to buy a second gen. I think
you can get them for $60,000.
Yeah. Hence why it only has about a tenth of what I need to get a second gen. So for me, if I was just gonna pick something for street ability, second gen Legacy GT with a STI drivetrain swap front to back, the R180 diff. I'm not super knowledgeable about suspension, but obviously I think you were saying earlier about brakes. I feel the same way about brakes and suspension. Those are two things. Or if you want the car to drive well, you got to update both of those things.
I'd probably well too.
Exactly. So I'd probably just basic suspension on it. I mean, I've got Fortunato coilovers, which are not the best thing on the market, but I'd probably just throw something in there. And SE37s. I want to put SE30. Yeah. I've been happy with them.
SC37s, baby.
Dude, they don't even make those anymore. But if I could get, if I won the lottery or started Walter Whiting it up, BBS LMs or a set of BBS LMs or SE37s, boom, let's go. That's kind of all I need. I know we can import a lot of the second gen legacy stuff now that's already turboed, but I love the idea of just swapping something over that's, I don't know, I think it's kind of interesting. But for off-road, I just love the SG platform. That's what I have right now. And the SG, because a huge thing for me, not having pressable front wheel bearings on an off-road Subaru. Give me the SG, 4 EAT transmission, just a rear locker, kind of like what I have, except for maybe not as, beat to piss. But so that would be that. But dude, there's a guy in Arizona in Prescott Valley. He's got a first gen Golden Legacy. He straight axle swapped it using like a Toyota ambulance drive, like took the front axles and the transmission out of an ambulance from like Australia, straight axle swapped it. It's on 37s and it daily drives. That would be the sickest off-road Subaru build.
Would be sick.
In my opinion. You probably couldn't drive it in California, but I don't have any plans to go there.
Yeah. Oh,
so those would be my jams.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like I had that kind of strain too, where I was like, do I go off-road? Do I go track build? Do I like what? Like, but yeah, I feel like my tastes are very specific. Dave, what would you build?
Ironically, I think I'm siding kind of with Raph a little bit here on this one. A lot of what I'm currently building, because in famous fashion, I don't think any projects ever finished being built. It's always
that's true.
And I think there's an exciting factor there, as much as it can equally be a frustrating factor sometimes. It's a balance. There's a yin and yang, if you will, to that whole effect. But my current build, which is my 2005 Outback, I absolutely love that generation. I've long believed, whether it be, which, mine is the H6, or my former, which is the XT version, or even just a plain Jane single overhead, version from that generation. That interior holds up so well. I don't know many people who could disagree that interior it has a very, I call like almost 2000s BMW interior feel to it. And it still holds up to this day. Arguably, now the newer generation Subarus, I'll give their due, stripes, where they've made some notable improvements. I've gotten a lot of the newer Wilderness models who have come by our shop, and they're just absolutely, stepping the game up, in a lot of ways. But there was a lot of generations I felt that were just very Fisher Price in the plastic, and
like second gen legacies.
Yeah, exactly. And even some of the later models, though, like no offense, I don't want to discourage anyone, because we're selling it right now, but we have a 2014 Forester Turbo on our lot, and that interior just kind of, I don't know, it leaves a lot to be desired. I don't feel the same kind of way when I'm in that car compared to, my 2005. And it's so funny, because to this point, I've had so many people who have been in the inside of my car, and immediately they're just like kind of looking around. They're like, what year did you say this was again? And I'm like, 2005. They're like, no, this is not 2005. This just doesn't scream 2005. It definitely, I think, was ahead of its time. Equally, the H6 is also a love-hate relationship, let's call it, because we've had our struggles with it, trying to dial things in. I think it's not for the, I'm confident it is not for the faint of heart. If you want to get into the H6 game, be willing to have to do some engineering, in a sense. But it's such a great platform. And kind of what Rav said, I'm kind of torn, because I also equally had a lowered 2005 Turbo XT Outback, and they were both very different beasts. I had my lifted and lowered, and the lowered one obviously handled phenomenally. It was slammed down, basically legacy GT suspension and everything, full white line Cusco, everything. and it handled like a dream. I used to take people out in it, and three things I would highlight. One was how quick it was, because all the young kids are always like, I want 500 horsepower. Then I take them out in my Outback and be like, all right, well, how fast was that? Well, that thing must be making 6. I'm like, try again, 250 wheel horsepower, on a dyno, Mustang dyno. So that might be 300 on a dyno jet. But that was a comparison for people when it came to, are you ready for this kind of power? Beyond that was also how well it handled. So I kind of use that as a preference to, hey, let me take you out in my Outback and show you what your WRX can do. And that kind of blew people's spines when an Outback could handle as well as it did. And then the last point, which, of course, Matt was talking about earlier, was or we were talking before the podcast here about the braking. And I had fully upgraded Brembo braking, everything. And so it was a matter of just touch the brake pedal and you're going to stop. And that's how it should be, specifically when you have a modified car that makes a lot more power than stock. You need to also remember to upgrade the braking as well. They go hand in hand. And the famous 60-0 matters as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's funny because it is true that like the way that Subaru builds some of these cars, you almost like are fine the way it is. I think like it is funny how that is. Yeah.
I feel like I need to redeem myself. Everybody else here picking Subarus, and I mean, I drive like 5 of them, and I like chose things that weren't Subaru.
Listen, I'm about to join you here.
Okay, good. Thank God I'm not the only guy. I mean, I do have an ultimate build Subaru, but we can touch on that later.
Raph, by the way, we're missing your camera. Up there you go.
Yeah, I was using my DJI Osmo as a webcam, and for some reason it shut off. I don't know why. And then I tried to turn it back on, and it said it can't connect while recording. So I don't know.
Okay.
So we're switching cameras. Yeah,
that works.
We're still here.
So do you guys know the R31 Skyline?
I do.
So that is my favorite body style of car. I'm going to show you guys right here.
Oh,
I absolutely love this car. I just love the style of the taillights, the boxiness of it. Like, this is like, it's got that feel of like the Silvias, where you
it's
put
quintessential 80s.
You put that super boxy
it's got that box body
kit on it. Yeah. Like when you put a body kit on it, it's so boxy that it looks nice, It's like, look at this lip, how aggressive it is. Like the
it's like a first, it's like a better looking first gen Legacy, but in coupe version. That is sick.
Mm-hmm. They didn't get a lot of love because the GTR engines, the RBs and the turbos, they didn't come in this car. So, a lot of people didn't like them because they weren't GTRs. This is on Bring a Trailer right now. I've been watching it. That's why I brought this up.
Nice. Is that an Oregon plate?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
Might have to go test drive it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's right now. It's
Ben.
The bid is
let me know when you do. I'll fly out.
25. It's at 25,000. So you've got about a fifth of that in your Viper fund. So
there you go.
Yeah.
What's the power plant in those?
So that one's already swapped.
Yeah, this has the RB25 turbo. Yep.
But it's a single turbo.
Yeah.
What'd they come with?
So they came with I believe it was an NA 6-cylinder. I think it was
it was probably like a 1JZ.
Let's see. So they came with a 2-liter RB20 single overhead cam or a turbo double overhead cam.
So they did put them in there, but it wasn't the newer RBs. It wasn't it was an RB20, not an RB26.
Yeah, like you can definitely tell the difference when you see what the engine looks like. It's drastically different.
I think the RB20 was the same motor that they put in the SCRs, like in that era.
This is what came in that thing.
Oh, dang.
So
I just looked and saw they have all-wheel steering.
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah, that's sick. Like Mitsubishi type stuff.
Yeah. So I would essentially want that body, right? I would swap the whole dash for a super dash right off the bat. I want to be in the cockpit,
I think which Supra?
I would do the the 4th gen.
Okay, with the weird little thing that comes down the center
Yeah,
console.
dude. I want the cockpit. You know, I want to be in the. You know, I'd make it work. It probably wouldn't fit, but I'd make it work.
The Celicas though have a very similar cockpit in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah. I would, you know, my Saab has that. My Saab has the flight mode or whatever where the whole dash goes dark except for the speedo. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
you know, I would do that.
Born from jets.
I would yeah. Yeah.
It's such a weird ad campaign.
I know, it really was. Their ads in the 90s were great. They're like a fighter pilot driving a Saab with a freaking whole mask on with a helmet and the goggles.
Listen, I am a fighter pilot by day.
I will give credit. I have to say one thing about Saab that was amazing. They had their dome light, you know, the little map lights. You know, when you're on an airplane, you have the little air vent that you can like swivel towards you and direct. That's how their map lights were on Saab, which actually I think is a cool, genius idea because you can now direct the light to where you want it.
Yeah.
That is sick.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, these cars, everybody hates on them because they're electrical nightmares. I can tell you they are. But like realistically, like they had some cool stuff. Dude, the cup holder, it's like a transformer. The thing comes out and it does like 3 flips and like turns into a thing. And like, you know. Mine is broken, but like, you know,
they're all broken, Patrick. None of them ever work.
Well, the one in my
That's why they were flipping around.
The one in my second
it worked
Saab
for the first
works.
customer. That was it.
Yeah, my second Saab one works. I'll tell you that. Yeah, so I would do the RB. I would do the big RB swap in this thing.
I support that. Skylines are one of the JDM cars that I've always wanted. I mean, I always wanted the 32. And things like that, but yeah.
Well, actually, maybe I would take the 2008 GTO with the LS3, put that in there, make it rear wheel, and just absolutely shred tires in that thing.
Well, you can get the GTS. Those are rear wheel.
Yeah, I could do that. But like LS3, you know, like just big V8 sounds and power out of that thing. It would be very, it's very non-Japanese. And I feel like that's what makes people go like, what is going on here? Like,
so we're doing the opposite of what they did in Tokyo Drift, where they stuck an RB motor in a Mustang in Japan.
I'm putting the GTO into the Nissan.
All right, Pat, it's funny that you say that because I don't know what made me think of it, but just like a couple of days ago, I was thinking, how awesome would that be to put like some American muscle engine in my Crosstrek and just see this thing pull up next to somebody and be like, you know, and then just take off.
Cammed out LS.
Yeah. I mean, that would be like, how cool would that be? Just like do some kind of, you know, insane swap on a Crosstrek.
Well, I used to work with a guy who had an Audi Allroad, like the wagon.
Yeah.
And he blew the engine in it, and he was so tired of dealing with oil problems and engine issues. And one day he showed up and it was cammed out. It was doing that. It was like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what happened? He's like, I got tired of it. He's like, I LS swapped it. I was like, you what? And he just went shredding down the street wide open in this thing. And I was like, this dude's rolling around in like an Audi station wagon. Like nobody sees it coming. And he's just got it LS swapped. I was like, that's sick. So yeah, I get that. I think it's very surprising. A lot of people like that stuff.
This guy put a twin turbo V8 into a 2012 STI.
I've seen that. Which V8 is it?
See that?
Is it the Mustang V8?
I can't remember. I just pulled up a picture because I remember in the early 2000s, somebody had taken a 04 WRX wagon like mine, and they put a V8 in it and then twin turboed it. So you're not far off, Raph. Like it would be a wild build.
Yeah.
I think in a Crosstrek, it would really blow people's minds, though, Raph. Like
exactly.
You're right.
That's what I was thinking.
They'd be like, "What the hell is going on right now?" They'd be so confused, sitting there, like, no, and the light would turn green, and you would just roast and be like,
I mean, what I'm talking about, man. I mean, it's unassuming, you know.
Yeah.
It's no different than when I pull up to the one rally, when we pull up to LSPR and there's 2 Chevy Sparks with LS3s in them.
Yeah. My God. Something
You
else
gotta bait
that,
people, Raph, and put a parachute on the back just to mess with people.
yeah.
People keep telling me to V8 swap the Vivio.
I don't know. Have you guys ever seen the Torque Barracuda? You guys ever see that thing? So there's this company, Weaver Customs. They did a custom Barracuda build. This thing is also one of my favorites. It was like a custom, like one-off that they did of like this crazy CUDA.
Is that in Colorado?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that picture just looked like that screamed Colorado with the mountains.
Yeah.
That looks like Colorado.
It's just superimposed over the Coors ad.
Yeah.
Dude, it's got a Cummins swap.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane.
That's perfect, dude. That's perfect.
Dude, literally it's a 6.7 twin turbo, and this thing is just gnarly. Like,
the sad reality is this guy will never get what he put into it out of it, though. That's the reality of this whole market. I think people don't realize that.
Unfortunately.
I mean, that's the thing, is there's so many cool
project.
builds and like cool cars out there, and like just sometimes, dude, I'll tell you, Bring a Trailer sometimes blows my mind. You see the wildest built things that you just got to imagine that somebody just built it to put it up for sale or something. Like, just insane.
That's the thing that drives me nuts about Bring a Trailer, right? Because like some of the stuff that ends up on Bring a Trailer, you're like, did you literally just build this to throw it up there and hope that everybody tries to have a bidding war for it? Because like, some of the stuff on there is just like, there's so many like one-off things on there, and then you're like, but then there's also the guys that are like taking stuff that's like kind of older, like not touched and rarer, and like those are the guys that are like they're waiting for that bidding war.
But why is it not touched? I have to ask you guys all this. This is another contention I have. When you see that like 80s BMW with 1,200 miles on it, hasn't even crossed 2,000, been garage kept in a climate controlled storage environment for the last 40 years. It's the first generation M, series, or M3, let's say. It's like, that guy's still losing money. Like, when
the
are
amount
these
of stuff
people
that needs fixed?
Yes. Like these aren't like ready to like turnkey go take it to the Nürburgring and rip it. Like, these are antiques in a sense. And I also contest, this is as a car enthusiast. Maybe people will disagree in the comments. Let us know. But if you own something like that and you bought it brand new and you're like, well, I'm going to buy a brand new M3, first generation ever, 1 of 200, never drive it.
Why did you buy it in the first place?
Why did you buy it, man?
You know what?
I think at a certain point, I don't want cars to transcend becoming collector items to a certain sense. They should be able to appreciate to that level. I mean, look at what's happened with like we've talked about, the Skylines. Like, they were never, ever. You think anyone thought that at Nissan, the Skylines would be what they are today? Like, they would fathom what they're going for right now? No way. And that's, I would argue, and there's a contention there whether it's earned its place, but it's more earned its place than something that somebody bought, didn't drive, and just sat on and said, I'm going to make a bunch of money on this. Is that really what we want in our space as enthusiasts? Is people just collecting stuff? Like, look at what's happens. A weird example with Lego. All of a sudden there's this rarity, scarcity. This is a children's toy. It becomes now scarce and rare, and these things are going for thousands of dollars, and it becomes inaccessible to the actual market they were intended to be for, children.
I feel like Lego is a weird example, because I feel like I blame Pokemon for everything, straight up.
Yes,
I blame
that didn't
Pokemon.
help either.
I blame Magic the Gathering. Like, dude, Magic has literally what is called a reserve list, which is like the cards that they tell you they will never make again, and they do it just so that the value of the game stays insane. And so every once in a while, right? Imagine this, Dave. Imagine, Subaru comes out and they tell you, we're only making 200 of this car. So you imagine, right? I'm going to go buy this car, and this car is going to be what it is. It's going to, you buy it, it's worth X amount of dollars. Like, let's say it's $100,000 for this car. and they tell you
It's
they are
209.
I was just about to say that, Dave.
well.
Any of the S line.
I'm saying, let's say that you know, they tell you we're only making 200 of these, and you go and buy one, right? And they say we will never make another one of this. This is a one-off thing. And then 2 months later, they see how popular it is, and they make 10,000 of them. That is the craziness of what's happening in the gaming market. Is like literally they come out and they lie and they say like this is like a one-off thing. And dude, Magic. So I'm gonna go off the rails here. Magic the Gathering made a Lord of the Rings set, and they said we're including one card that has the ring from Lord of the Rings. We're putting it in one box, and only one person is ever going to get this card, right? That card ended up going for like $1 bajillion because it ended up in like South America. But then they made a bunch of the card in a different version, so it like devalues like what it is, even though it's still a one of one. Like you could still get the card, you know.
That's how it is with the Pokemon thing, though. Like you said, like my one son collects Pokemon cards, and I love the kid to death. He's collecting the cards. He's found something that he likes. Cool. But the problem is like, okay, cool. Here's the card today, right? This card is worth $5, and it's not worth anything because it's just a card. But now in like 6 years, they're going to be like, oh, that rare white card that we made like one time, now it's worth 30. And so like now it's worth money, but last week it wasn't. And then in like another week, they're like, this is the one that's worth $100. And so it cycles. And then the kids rush out to go buy the one that was expensive. And then they find out that it's not.
Well,
and it's wild.
So that's my fear, is that the car market is now following this trend of like people who have money, right? They're buying these cars and they're keeping them, and they're either sending them to auction or they're hanging on to them and they're trading them for other stuff.
They're not even car people sometimes.
Yeah.
They're not even car people. That infuriates, I'll say it, that infuriates the living shit out of me. Like if you're not even a car person and you're buying some of these rare cars just to collect them and to make money, like, you know what? Just get out of here. I don't even want you in our space, respectfully. I'll just say that.
You're 100% right? I was looking, I really want, semi backwards to the build thing, right? I am building my 2004 WRX. It's a station wagon version, but I wanted to do a full STI swap, full STI drivetrain. I've already done a Forester suspension swap, so it's lifted for the off-road aspect of when I rally it, because I need the extra suspension travel. But I really want all of the other go fast bits to go along with it. But at the same token, I really, really, really want an 04, 05 STI. First generation US STI. I want to just get one of those and build it. But the problem is that you either end up sacrificing and getting one that's already been clapped out by like 27 other teenagers before it came to you, or you go and bring a trailer and there's one that's, got 15,000 miles on it and they're selling it for $75,000. And you're like, it's got dry rotted bushings.
That ruins
it's
the
got
market.
This, and it's not worth $75,000 just because it's got 10,000 miles on it.
I guarantee you, every hose is dry rotted and cracked on it. You're gonna have to basically rebuild that engine already.
The transmissions are all going to have dry rotted everything on, like
exactly. Yes. And it's like cool. I spent $60,000 on a car because it has low mileage. Whoop-de flippin' do. I was going to take that car and completely overhaul it and turn it into a freaking, either a street / track monster, or take it for parts for my freaking wagon.
Now, Dave, let me ask you this. Your thought is that if they're not car people, they shouldn't be buying these super rare one-offs, and they should be driving them if they do buy them. What happens when all the S209s, that they all rot their quarter panels? And now, right, there are no clean ones left, and they're all trashed, and there's nothing left. And now, because these people drove them and they used them and whatever, there's not a clean one left. You can't. Your kid will never
going with this,
be able to.
But I think that you already have Subaru acknowledging something for the first time ever in the history of Subaru, which I think is fantastic with their legacy program. They have the blueprints. Yes. They have the designs. They have the stamping. They have the tooling to build these things again. They could build a full GC from start to finish right now. They could.
And they should.
Absolutely. Yes. They could literally retool and take those presses, those stamping dies, everything, and make new quarter panels and
now,
and everything for GCs.
back full circle
It's not
to
like they
square
threw that
one.
stuff away.
Full circle, square one. Now you bought an S209 and you have the last clean one in your garage and you kept it for this reason. And now Subaru comes out 30 years later and they go, we're making 1,000 more of these. And now your value of your car went from $250,000 to being worth 30 grand.
But that's the problem, Pat. Did you buy it
you should have driven
because you wanted it? Right. Did you buy it because you wanted it to be expensive later, or did you buy it because you saw the value in it being more rare at the time? Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, right, like I get Dave's point of like you should drive the car because it's going to lose value over time. Or, right, if you don't drive it, right, you might get lucky and it's worth a lot of money. But if they ever come out and decide to make more of them, you're going to lose the value on it either way. I think it's
but I have the problem of I'm
not
already
buying Ferraris
driving
here.
Correct.
Well, so here's
I have a
something I want to
30-year-old
bring
car
up.
that's not they make no parts for.
One of my favorite cars ever is this car right here.
Oh God, yes, the freaking Evolution 2.
This car, right? If people
Classic.
drove all of these and they beat the shit out of them, right? This car would not exist. It would not be as clean as it is. There wouldn't be like leather intact. The shifter wouldn't be 140 out of 500, right? This thing would be probably beat up and torn up. And like, it's so amazing that they were able to save this thing and have
And it's
such
so
a clean...
unfathomable that Mercedes with their minuscule budget could not reproduce this.
Yeah, I mean, this car
Just
sold
saying. You ever watch
for 200.
You ever watch AMG? You know, they're doing pretty good for themselves in Formula One. Last time I checked, they could retool. they could pump out a new let's call it like a legacy, not legacy, but let's call it like a vintage program. What if a company did something unprecedented, like Mercedes, and said, you know what, we're bringing it back. We're going to upgrade some things. We're going to put some modern day upgrades. We're going to do some new brakes on it. We're going to do some better suspension upgrades, whatever. We're going to modernize some things. But the core, you're going to get into it. It's going to be like a time capsule, and you're going to get into this thing. It's going to be leather interior,
like the DeLorean?
wood grain, real wood grain. They would sell those.
This is where I was heading. Did any of you guys see the story that I shared yesterday on Instagram? So
Did not know.
I've not yet.
Somebody created a version of what would be a modern day 22B. And I love this thing. If this was real, I would buy one tomorrow. It's small. It's got the 22B styling of the wide body. It's got the wing. It just fits the look of what I think a modern Subaru should look like. If we were trying to model today's cars after the GD platform and the 22B and the GC8s and the stuff that we liked and that was small and compact and had that Subaru racing feel to it, this is what they should be making. I think that all these big, massive WRXs and these big cars that they've been making, are they cool? Yeah. Are they heavy? Also, yeah. Do you think that those cars are great for rally and stuff? Sure. I mean, we're seeing like some of these examples getting into racing and stuff, but like this thing looks like an absolute monster, and I would love to drive this. Like, but that's the thing. We were talking last podcast about how do we take the old stylings of things that we like and put it in modern day cars so that people like us who used to drive these old cars and like that look and that feel, how do we make something that we would appreciate that they can also sell as a new car and people don't say, oh, that's old, or that looks like an old car, I don't want to buy that, or it's something that's outdated. So I think that this is like such a good rendering. I don't know who did this, but I love it. I think it's like spot on. It has the updated headlights. It has the Subaru iconic badge and the, like the grille, kind of like the modern day WRXs and STIs. It's got the air ducts and the vents and everything that essentially one of the new cars
It's a good blend.
had.
I would want to make sure that there were still, I guess, if you would, homages to the original. Like, even if they're, there's still some characteristics, like you said, from the styling, but like interior cues. There needs to be that air of like, I want to step into a time capsule. I want to feel like I'm in an old car, but it drives like a new car. And
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that's really more important than any exterior styling of like, hey, let's do a hybrid of like new and old. there's coolness to that, but give me an old body style look, give me an old body style interior, and just, you know what? Let's refresh the underneath.
I was just thinking, Dave. I was just thinking. Remember in the early 2000s when Ford came out with the retro Mustang and they basically brought back the styling of the old car but modernized it?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think we should do something like that, but more to the point, right? You talked about all these guys have the tooling to rebuild these cars again. Why not rebuild them, but with modern stuff? Now you're not rebuilding the old car and devaluing it because now you have a new car with new stuff. Technically speaking, people could take their older car and modernize their older one to bring it back, which would still technically then allow it to bring its own value back up because it's still rare. You still get new fresh parts for it, but it's not a completely new car.
That's even better than a legacy program. It's like, hey, you know what? We're building the GC again. Guess what? We're also offering brake upgrades, suspension upgrades, everything else from from a factory level. You want Bilstein B8s? We got them.
Right. Factory. So you either build your 1996 back to its immediate glory of back then with legacy parts, or you take your rotted out GC and modernize it.
Just like resto mod stuff.
Exactly.
Resto mod. There you go. They did with the Challenger, that big boat that they, it looks like somebody just told ChatGPT, hey, take an old school Challenger and make it not old, But they did it well. I hate the car. I never owned one. But they did a good job. I mean, just look how many of them get stolen.
But see, I need legacy programs. I need the legacy program for the video. Yes. I need the legacy program desperately. I also need the legacy program for Dodge because of my wife's 1968 Dodge. It is absolutely astronomically impossible to find parts for this truck.
Yeah. Fun fact, did you know BMW has never they're the only manufacturer that I am aware of that has never discontinued a single nut, bolt, screw, washer, anything. You can still buy every single part for every BMW ever produced. Even if you need an old BMW Isetta, the old bubble cars, you can buy the actual bubble, brand new from BMW. It'll take it
or
a
FCP
couple weeks
Euro
to get here. Yeah. It's not coming from, your local warehouse down the street. It's getting shipped from Germany in a warehouse, but they have every single part.
Even if it was driven in the third right, you can get that bolt straight up.
Oh man!
But yeah, shout out to Subaru though again for doing the whole legacy program, because I think that's really Subaru looking deep, or rather, looking in deep and saying this is what our consumer base wants. They don't stand, in my opinion, I don't think they stand to make a lot of money from the immediate sales from the legacy program of the parts and things. I think what they're doing is they're doubling down in a good way, and I'm proud to see this in the culture, the community, and the fact that people have these old cars and want to fix them. And yeah, if they can make a few bucks here and there on the parts, so be it. But they're not reinventing their business with this legacy program. I think what they're really doing is they're expanding their business 5% here, 5% there, 5% here, 5% there. And you add that up, it's like, well, wait, you just had a 20% increase overnight, Subaru. Good job. And we can all, I think, benefit from that as enthusiasts, because the more they grow, the more they innovate, the more they support and start to engage with, or rather, the closer they engage with us, because they're already engaging with us. I think the more they can and continue that directive, the more we're going to get more out of this brand, and the more Subaru is going to continue to grow, because they can see what we want and know what we want, and hopefully give us what we want.
Yeah.
What an incredible episode. Huge thanks again to Raph, Matt, and Ben for joining us for this two-part mega panel. Having this much enthusiast knowledge in one room is what car culture is all about. We want to hear from you. What's your ultimate marketplace red flag or your dream Subaru build? Let us know in the comments or hit us up on socials. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the whole crew via the show notes. Peace.